So this is my third year homeschooling my children. I have two in school right now, kindergarten and first grade. And we have been using The Good and the Beautiful for a lot of our stuff. And this coming up year, we are going to be switching from The Good and the Beautiful. And I want to give a few reasons why we're switching, people who this curriculum maybe wouldn't be the best for, and then people who I think that it really would work for. And I'm going to start with the math. So I have first grade math here. What I really do love about it is it already comes with all of the manipulatives. Here we have the math one box. It's the same as for kindergarten. There's a little box and all the manipulatives are already in here and included. And it really is very beautiful. You open it up, everything's very fun and colorful. It is also very affordable. All of the Good and the Beautiful's curriculum is very affordable, and that is a super perk of it. I think even above, maybe kindergarten above or above kindergarten, they offer all of their bookwork for free to download, and then you can print it off yourself and bind it yourself. So that's a very, very affordable option if you're looking to save some money. Things I do not like about the math. First of all, it is extremely wordy. So to explain the problem, instead of going more in depth and teaching directions or whys, before every lesson, there's these big paragraphs of words that's just like stories, like Matt and his sister had this dog and they wanted to buy this dog from a pet store, and so this and this and this happened. So I feel like it's very wordy and fluff, and a lot of the times I'll just skip over all of that to actually get to the lesson. So I'm not the biggest fan of all the extra fluff in it. Another thing is, this is personal preference. There is no teacher workbook for this. It is strictly all in one book. So it's read the black to the child and the blue is for the teacher to read. And it's like that with the first grade workbook. And my son, who is 6 in first grade, can read. So we have the problem of, since it's all on one page, him reading the teacher instructions to get the answers, or him reading ahead and saying, no mom, it's this and this and this. And it's just hard for me to stand over him and read the book as he's doing it. I'd rather have my own book that I can teach out of and just the work pages for him to do. Other thing I do not love about this is the Good and the Beautiful math is what's considered spiral method. So like here, lesson 19, you're learning about positions. And then the next lesson, you're learning about counting backwards. And the next lesson, you're learning about counting by fives. And the next lesson, you're learning about addition. And you learn something kind of different each lesson. And after 4 or 5 lessons, you'll learn about first, second, third, ordinal positions again. Then you'll learn about counting by fives again. And then you do some review. I don't mind a spiral method. I think it keeps my son interested. I think if he was just doing the same thing over and over, he would get bored. But this one is such a tight spiral that I don't feel like they have enough time to absorb the concept. They don't get any practice. Often I find myself printing out extra practice pages so that they can keep getting it, because sometimes it's only 1/2 page of what they're learning, and then you go to review without fully grasping the concept of what you were learning. So I don't love how close-knit the spiral is. Would prefer something that went into depth over the concepts a little bit more before moving on. I do like the review sections. The review sections are really good. I just want them to go more into depth onto each thing. I don't think that it's bad math. My children are learning pretty decently with this. It's just not the perfect fit for us. I don't have the preschool stuff out here, but we have done the preschool stuff. I really like the pre-K stuff. It's very gentle. It's very fun. Do I think it's necessary? No. I think with the reading curriculum we're using now, that you could just start with that without any preschool and do fine. I have no problem with the preschool. I think it's really fun and cute. It's very gentle. I really like the handwriting books. The handwriting books are very simple, easy. You have a page to trace your letters. You normally have a coloring picture. They're very cute, on level. And I do like the science for the little children. It is a book right here of basically stories. So each subject, like you'll learn about ants, and instead of learning just facts, you read a little storybook. And I think that children learn best through stories. So you learn the stories, and then in the teacher's guide here, it gives you extra information, questions to ask, discussions, extra videos you could look at, little science projects to go along with the lessons, We are still using these, and we will keep using these for our like K to second grade stuff, as well as some unit studies until we reach a higher level. Okay, and then let's get into language arts. There are some things I like about it and some things I do not like about it. We will be completely switching away from the Good and the Beautiful language arts. I did it for kindergarten and first grade with my son, and I really regret it. I started my daughter in kindergarten with Logic of English, which I have a full review of on my page. But I don't think it's bad. I think that it does work. I just think that it will leave more gaps or take a little bit longer to learn certain concepts. So basically what it is this includes geography, reading, art, spelling. It's all included. It's, again, I have the problem with everything, the teachers and the children's being on the same page. I would rather have my own manual and just have him doing the work pages. I find it really cluttered because it includes everything. I like to kind of have my art and reading and all of that kind of separate. It has some poetry in here, and it's not boring. I just feel like it's very cluttered. And how it works is first you do the reading cards. So these are the grade 1 Booster B reading cards. You learn a reading concept, like here, ALK and OLD, and you practice the words. And when you're good at reading the words on the cards, you move to the lessons that are in the books. Something I don't love about this curriculum is it includes a lot of sight words. And if you're okay with sight words, then it might work great for you. My son gets really frustrated with the sight words. And also, you're learning the rules. There will be a rule here, AI says A, and you'll learn this, and then you'll learn AY says A. But you won't learn why that makes that sound in that word. They don't explain the phonics rules to you. So for my child, it was particularly confusing because there was never any answer to why you have to use AI in this word, but you have to use AY in this word. There's no explaining that with the Good and the Beautiful. You just kind of have to memorize which words go with which sound. Whereas the curriculum we're using now gives you explicit instruction. You can't use AI at the end of a word because English words don't end in I. So if you're spelling day, you know that you have to use AY instead because an English word can't end in I. So learning those rules make it a lot easier for my children to do the spelling work. Instead of memorizing the spelling lists, they're actually decoding the words and learning how to spell them without ever seeing or hearing the word before. So you do the booster cards, you do the paperwork. There are books that go along with certain lessons. So I really do like their books. They're really cute books. So this will be like A says and ah, and you'll read that book for that lesson. You can additionally add on these little readers here. We have several of these, and these nature readers. I really love the nature readers. My daughter, who isn't doing the Good and the Beautiful, still reads these, and there's chapters of different stories that implement the different phonics rules you're learning at the time. I just feel like the phonics instruction is not thorough enough. I prefer something that is more purely phonics based, not learning sight words, and then we can build on that. Okay, so people I think that the Good and the Beautiful may not be a good fit for. If you're looking for a more phonics-based reading curriculum, this is not the best fit for you. If you're looking for math that is not a tight spiral method, it's not the best fit for you. If you're wanting to like stand up and teach and everybody sit down, I think this is not a good fit because everything's all in one book. You don't have the teacher manual to kind of like step back and teach to the kids. People who I think it is a good fit for you, I think if you're living in a really small space, I like how everything's kind of together. I think that because it's all extremely open and go, that it is a very good curriculum to start with just to get some confidence in homeschooling. It's kind of a canon event that people start with the Good and the Beautiful and then switch on to something else because it really is so pretty and so easy to start with and so open and go and like everything's kept together all nice. It kind of builds your confidence with being able to homeschool. But I think that it's a very affordable option, and I do not think it's a bad curriculum whatsoever. I just don't think that it is the best for us, especially with the language arts. I think the math is better than the language arts, but I think especially with the language arts, I've noticed some gaps in my oldest's reading that my youngest does not have because she started with a more solid reading and spelling foundation.